payday is coming soon, right? About this month's remittance. Huh? This month I'm going to raise the amount again. Wait a minute, Mom? Is this some kind of joke? If you raise the amount any higher, I won't be able to afford my own living expenses. What are you saying? It's only natural for children to send money to their parents. Yes, I understand that, and I'm still sending money, but can we talk about the amount? It's becoming unreasonable. By the way, is Dan still sending his remittance? Is it still the same amount, $1,500 every month? Of course, Dan is so successful, talented, and such a dutiful son. There's no way I'd burden him with more. Yeah, I shouldn't have asked. But listen, I can't increase it anymore. What? Like I said earlier, I really can't do it anymore. Even right now, I'm barely managing to make ends meet. If you push me further, I really won't be able to survive. Then just cut back on your expenses even more. It's as simple as that. If I cut back any more, I'll be living a life that's not even human. I'm barely living as it is, and you're asking me to scrape by even more? Then just work harder and earn more money. Do you even hear what you're saying? You're asking me to sacrifice everything just to increase the remittance, and for what reason? It's ridiculous. Don't you have any sense of duty towards your family? You left this house out of your selfishness, so it's only right that we decide the amount you send back. I left because I had no place in the house, not because I was being selfish. And let me remind you, I'm already sending you $3,500 every month. That's a huge amount. If you include Dan's contribution, it's a small fortune. Besides, isn't Dad receiving his pension starting this year, and didn't he get rehired after retirement? Well, yes, he's still working. So you're getting his pension, and he's still earning a salary, right? And on top of that, you're asking me to increase the remittance? It's just you and Dad at home now. What kind of extravagant life are you living that justifies asking for more? I'd really love to hear an explanation of where all this $3,500 is going. Stop being so selfish. How am I being selfish? I'm not increasing the amount. Period. It's already too much, and if you keep pushing, I might just lower it. What? How dare you talk back to your own mother like this? Can't you listen to your parents? Look, even if you are my parents, there are limits to what I can agree to. Don't you understand that? I can't just do everything you ask for without question. All right, I have said my piece. Bye. Wait, Ruth, come back here.
Ruth, is it true that you haven't sent this month's remittance yet?
Yeah, I haven't sent it.
Why not?
Because Mom made an unreasonable demand, and I'm holding off until we resolve it. Once things are settled, I'll send the money.
But you promised that you'd send money every month when you moved out of the house. That was the condition, wasn't it? This is starting to look a bit selfish, don't you think?
Wait, are you going to ask me to increase the remittance like Mom did?
Well, yes, I think it's time you raised the amount. Honestly, I believe it would be a good opportunity for you to learn how to manage your finances more wisely.
What are you even talking about? Look, Dan can afford to send $1,500 a month because he runs his own company and earns over $100,000 a year. But my situation is totally different from his. I told Mom the same thing. If you expect me to send more, I won't be able to cover my own living costs. I'm seriously begging you, cut me some slack.
Ruth, what exactly do you do for a living?
What do you mean by that?
Well, I thought you were in a specialized profession with the potential for high earnings. But if you're telling me you can't survive after sending the little amount of money you do, I have to wonder, are you really working properly, or are you just wasting your money carelessly?
What?
Given the current situation, it's hard not to think that. Look at Dan. He sends $1,500 every month without complaint. You, on the other hand, send a mere $100. Do you even respect your parents?
$100? Wait, what are you talking about?
Yes, $100. That's all you send, while Dan is sending 10 times that amount. What does that say about you?
Wait. What do you mean $100? I've been sending $3,500 every month.
$3,500? Are you serious?
Yes, 5 years ago when I first moved out, I was sending $1,000 a month. But then it kept increasing because of things like Mom saying she needed money for medical appointments, or that she had to take out a loan to replace the car, or that the electricity bills were too high. So little by little, the amount went up until about 6 months ago when it reached $3,500. All that time I kept sending the money because I felt it was my duty after moving out, and I lived as frugally as possible to make it work. But recently, my coworkers started to notice how I was living, and one of them even scolded me, saying I need to think about my own financial limits. That was when I realized how absurd it had all become.
Ruth, I'm telling you, the fact remains that we've only received $100 from you.
I swear I have been sending $3,500.
Are you still saying that?
Of course I am. It's the truth, and I've been doing it for months now.
Don't lie to me. If what you're saying is true, then stop the payments.
Wait, stop them? What do you mean?
I'm saying if you're really sending that much, then stop. Let's see what happens.
Wait, are you seriously telling me I can stop sending money? You don't want me to reduce the amount, but just stop entirely? $0?
Yes, you think we can't survive without your remittance? We're not living in such poverty that we'd struggle if your money stopped coming in.
Oh, so that's how it is.
However, if you do stop sending money, don't even think about stepping foot back into this house. You'll no longer have a place in this family.
That's fine by me.
What?
I moved out 5 years ago with no intention of coming back. I started my own life, and if you're telling me I can stop the remittance, that's the best news I've heard in a long time. It's a huge relief.
Wait, Ruth!
Oh, and make sure to let Mom know, too. I'm done. Bye.
Why is she so happy?
Ruth, hurry up and send the remittance. For now, I'm fine with the usual $3,500. Just make sure you transfer it today. Huh? I'm not sending any more remittances. What? You can't do that. I'm in the middle of dealing with so many bills. The payment deadlines are coming up fast. Like I said, I'm not sending any more money. Are you really going to break the promise you made when you left the house? If you don't start sending money again, I'll bring you back home. Excuse me? If you want to continue living on your own, then send the remittance right now. And from next month, I expect you to send $4,000. Wait, Mom, are you telling me not to come back home, or that you're going to force me to come back? Which is it exactly? I'm saying that if you stop sending money, I'll make you come back home. But Dad told me if you stop sending the remittance, we'll never let you set foot in this house again. What? He really said that? Yes, he told me that yesterday. So before you start giving me an ultimatum, how about you and Dad get on the same page? Look, even if I were to start sending money again, I'd prioritize my own life first. And if I do decide to send anything, the amount will be a lot less than what I've been giving you.
Hey, where are you?
Oh, Carter, I thought you were at work today.
I finished early because of some maintenance at the office building.
Oh, I see.
So where are you now?
I'm just out shopping a bit.
Come home without buying anything. I just checked the mailbox and we received a collection notice.
What? A collection notice?
Are you in debt?
Yes, but it's not what you think. I didn't mean for this to happen. I've been trying to manage my finances.
This is serious. How could you let it get to this point? You need to explain what's going on right now. Ruth, please, I need you to start sending the remittance again.
Huh? Dad? What's with the sudden request? I thought you said you wouldn't have any problems without my remittance.
Well, that's not quite the case. The other day I found multiple collection notices addressed to your mother.
Collection notices? What do you mean?
It seems she had been collecting the mail and hiding it before I could see it. They were right in the mailbox, but she made sure to keep them away from me.
So this means there's debt involved?
Yes, it's quite a significant amount, actually. We're talking about hundreds of thousands.
What? Are you serious? So my remittance of $3,500 has been going toward paying off that debt?
Apparently that's exactly what was happening. They've been borrowing money and paying it off only to borrow again. Your remittance was being used as a way to keep this cycle going. But now the amounts they've been borrowing have increased, and for various reasons, they've been asking for more money from you.
What about Dan? What's his remittance situation?
I double-checked with him earlier, and it turns out he was actually sending $2,000 instead of the $1,500 we thought.
Wow. So he's sending even more than we realized. That's still less than my $3,500, right?
Well, yes, but that's possibly due to how your mother feels about each of you. She's always had a soft spot for Dan.
Yeah, I know. Mom definitely dotes on him, but still, $2,000 is quite a lot. I guess that really shows how desperate they are for money right now.
From what I understand, of that $2,000, around $1,500 is purely for living expenses.
Right. So it sounds like they're really in a tough spot financially. But given everything, I think it's impossible for me to resume sending money at this point.
Wait, why do you say that? Don't you think we should find a way to help them?
First, we need to understand the reason behind their debts. I mean, what led them to this point? Why did Mom take out loans in the first place? And what has she been spending the money on?
That's a good point. We need to have a serious conversation with your mother about this. We can't just keep throwing money at the problem without knowing the full story. This cycle has to stop somewhere.
Exactly. I want to help them, but I can't just keep feeding into this without understanding what's going on. I also have my own finances to manage.
Right. And you should not be put in a position where you're sacrificing your stability for theirs. We need a plan.
Yes, we definitely need to get to the bottom of this. Once we talk to Mom, we can figure out what's truly needed and how to move forward from here.
Ruth, I want to apologize for the horrible things I said the other day.
Huh? Oh, you mean the conversation we had last time?
Yes, I know this sounds like an excuse, but I genuinely had no idea about your mother's debt. I had completely entrusted her with managing the household finances. I was led to believe that your remittance was only $100 and that Dan was sending $1,500. I took that at face value without questioning it. Then one day I happened to overhear your mother mumbling about the remittances, and without fully understanding the situation, I ended up complaining to you.
Okay, Dad, I appreciate your honesty. It's good to know you weren't fully aware of everything.
I truly am sorry for how I reacted.
Thank you for saying that. Now, do you have any idea what caused her debt? I've always thought she was a bit careless with money, but I never imagined it was serious enough to accumulate debt. What could have happened?
Well, it turns out she got really into hosting.
Hosting? You mean like she's been spending money on that?
Yes, apparently. From what I've gathered, she was doing more than just socializing. It seems she got heavily involved in that lifestyle.
Oh my God.
I truly believe this is going to lead to a divorce.
Yeah, I can see that. It's definitely a complicated situation. But Dad, how do you even handle something like that? A mother over 60 getting into debt from hosting? It's just so hard to process.
I know, it's rough, and honestly, it's painful to think about. I never thought we'd be in this situation. I've always believed we could get through anything as a family, but now it's like everything is unraveling. I feel a mix of anger and sorrow.
I get it. This is beyond just a financial issue. It's about trust and family. I can't believe she would put herself in this position at her age. It's just heartbreaking.
Exactly. It's not just about the money, it's about how it affects our family and her health. I worry about what this means for her future. How could she be so reckless?
It sounds like she was trying to fill some kind of void in her life, but she ended up making things worse. I mean, is this really the path she wanted to go down? It just seems so out of character for her.
I know, right? It makes me wonder what she's been feeling, or if she's going through something we didn't see. Maybe she's been feeling lonely or unfulfilled. Whatever the reason, it's clear she needs help, and we need to address this together.
Yes, we definitely need to have a serious discussion with her. I'm not sure how she'll react, but we need to confront this issue head on. It can't go on like this.
Agreed. Let's try to figure out a way to support her, but also make sure she understands the gravity of the situation. We can't just let this spiral further out of control.
Ruth, you've been living in this apartment, haven't you? Huh? Mom, what are you talking about? This apartment, room 105. What about it? I just ran into a resident from here, and they told me that ever since you moved out 2 months ago, that room has been empty. First, I want to know how you even found out about that room. I never told anyone my new address since I left home. When I went back to the house, I found a New Year's card addressed to Grandma. It had your old address on it. Oh, that card. I actually moved right after I sent that out. I plan to send Grandma a moving notice once I get settled in. Why would you choose to move out at this time? I was able to move to a more secure place because I no longer need to send remittances. It seemed like the right decision. So you came all the way here for what? That must have taken at least 2.5 hours on the fastest bus from your house. I got divorced from your father. Right after that, I returned home. But when Grandma found out the reason for the divorce, she declared that she never wanted to see me again. I heard your father went to Dan's place, and as for that host boyfriend of mine, well, he dumped me. Wait, are you saying you have no choice but to come live with me? I mean, what else am I supposed to do? I don't have any other options. No way, you're joking, right? Why would you think that? I already know why you got divorced. What do you mean? Who told you? Well, it's not like it's a secret. It's about the debts, your obsession with those hosts, and finally, the infidelity, right? Just the thought of having a mother who lives like that makes my skin crawl. I can't possibly live with you. Ruth, please. Think about everything I've done for you while raising you. I thought we could live together again as a way to repay that. You lied to Dad about how much I send home every month. I know you've been secretly borrowing money and making those payments behind my back. I don't want to be dragged into any more of your messes, all right? Ruth, about your new address. I'm not telling you. Wait a minute. Goodbye. What on earth is she thinking? I truly cannot understand my mother's thought process. To be honest, I don't even want to understand it. After all, she failed to come to me for help, and now, because of that, she really has no place to go. For several days, she's been wandering around the nearby park, seemingly lost and without direction. While I was searching for her, I was approached by a group who had apparently been looking for her too. Before I knew it, they took me along with them, and I felt an odd sense of connection with these strangers, united by our concern for someone who had once been a central figure in my life. The days turned into an agonizing blur as I tried to piece together my mother's whereabouts. I could picture her in the park, sitting on a bench, staring off into the distance, seemingly lost in thought. I imagined her mind racing with all the burdens she carried. Is she reminiscing about better times or contemplating her next move? It's troubling to consider that her situation could spiral even further into despair. I remember the times when she was a vibrant part of my life, full of laughter and warmth. Those memories felt like a distant dream now. The thought of her aimlessly wandering without purpose gnawed at my insides. I had always assumed she would reach out if she needed help, but her silence spoke volumes about her state of mind. Was it pride, shame, or something else that kept her from turning to me? Days later, I encountered a group of people who seemed genuinely concerned about her. They approached me, asking questions about her whereabouts. Their faces were a mix of worry and sympathy, and I felt a strange kinship with them, despite not knowing them. It struck me how many lives my mother had touched, and yet she was now isolated and alone. They led me to a cafe nearby where we sat down to discuss what we knew. I learned that this group had been trying to find her for a while. They recounted stories of their encounters with her, how she would often sit alone, engaging in conversations with strangers, offering her insights on life, and sometimes sharing bits of her own struggles. I listened intently, taking in every detail, feeling both comforted and alarmed by the kindness of these people. As they spoke, I felt my own frustration bubbling to the surface. I should have been the one helping her, not these strangers. It was disheartening to realize how disconnected I had become from her reality. Perhaps I had been so consumed by my own life that I overlooked the signs of her distress. It dawned on me that I should have done more to reach out and check on her. How could I have let her fall through the cracks like this? One of the individuals in the group shared how they had seen my mother around the park, often appearing lost or withdrawn. Their words painted a picture of a woman who was not just my mother, but a person struggling to maintain her sense of self amidst a storm of challenges. Each story reinforced my commitment to find her and help her find her way back to stability. After several exhausting days of searching, I received an unexpected call from a friend of my mother's. He mentioned that there had been some unusual activity in his bank account. A deposit made by my mother. I felt a mixture of relief and dread wash over me. On one hand, it seemed she was still alive and functioning in some capacity, but on the other hand, it meant she was still entangled in a web of debt. The knowledge that she was engaging in financial transactions, even if they were questionable, added another layer to my concern. I shared this news with my father and brother, a reunion of sorts after years of silence. It was awkward at first, with so much unspoken tension hanging in the air. However, as we began discussing our mother, an unexpected warmth began to surface around us. We reminisced about the good times, family gatherings, birthdays, and the laughter we shared. Those memories felt bittersweet, contrasting sharply with the current reality we faced. My father, with his furrowed brow, spoke up first. "I always thought she would find her way back. She's a strong woman, but lately, it feels like she's lost her way." My brother chimed in, his voice laced with concern. "We need to figure out what's going on with her. This can't go on. She can't keep living like this." I nodded in agreement, feeling a surge of determination. We all knew we had to do something, but what? As we talked, an unspoken understanding began to form between us. We recognized that it was time to mend the frayed bonds of our family. The weight of our collective worry about our mother pulled us closer together. We realized that we needed to support each other through this challenging period, despite the long-standing distance and silence. My brother looked at both my father and me and said, "We should make it a point to check in on each other. Even just a simple text now and then would mean a lot." My father nodded in agreement, his expression softening. "You're right. Life is too short to be distant. We need to look out for each other, especially now." With that renewed commitment, we made a pact to stay in touch. It felt like a weight had been lifted off my shoulders. We were no longer alone in this struggle. The tension that had once filled the room gradually dissipated, replaced by a shared sense of purpose. Dan, who had been quietly listening to our conversation, chimed in with a brilliant idea. "Why don't we create a family group chat? It'll be a fun way to share updates and keep each other in the loop." His suggestion sparked a sense of excitement among us. It felt like a fresh start, a small yet significant step towards reestablishing our family ties. We quickly set up the group chat, each of us sharing our contact information and a few light-hearted messages to break the ice. As the messages flowed in, I felt a renewed sense of hope. Perhaps this was exactly what we needed, a way to connect without the heaviness of our current situation overshadowing everything. We could share photos, jokes, and everyday moments, creating new memories even amidst the chaos. I left the meeting with my father and brother feeling lighter. Despite the gravity of our mother's circumstances, I had hope that we could find a way to support her together. I realized that family didn't have to be perfect, it just had to be there for one another in times of need. In the following weeks, we kept the group chat active, sharing snippets of our lives and encouraging one another to stay connected. I felt a sense of belonging that I hadn't experienced in a long time. Even though my mother remained elusive, I took comfort in the knowledge that I was not alone in the struggle. Then one day I received a message from my brother. He had managed to track down one of our mother's acquaintances. "I spoke with someone who said they saw her last week," he wrote. "They said she seemed okay, just a bit withdrawn. It's not much, but it's something." I felt a surge of hope. It was reassuring to know that she was alive and, at least outwardly, appeared to be fine. But my heart still ached for her. I couldn't shake the feeling that she was in over her head, struggling with demons we couldn't see. As the weeks turned into months, our family dynamics began to shift. We made an effort to reconnect, sharing not just our concerns about our mother, but also celebrating the milestones in our lives. Birthdays and anniversaries became occasions for us to come together, even if virtually. Thank you for watching and listening. We hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe. Also, feel free to leave a comment about what you thought of the story. We look forward to seeing you at the next story.